Okay, injury-wise, so for today, Alaric Jackson will be limited. Joe Noteboom will not participate. He'll be out for the game with his groin. Desjuan Johnson will be limited. He ended up having to get surgery on his thumb, so he'll be doubtful for the game. Everybody else will be full, and then we'll give Brian Allen a rest day. I do.
So he will play, you're saying?
Yeah, unless something different happens in the next 48 hours.
So when will you activate him to the roster? How does that work?
I'll tell you, I know this. Whenever Tony sends it in, I don't know whether it's today or tomorrow, but you'll see that reflected in O'Shawn Mathis as well. There's a possibility of that. You know, those are things that we're looking through, and he's done a good job with practice, and Warren would be a candidate for sure. He's done a really good job, Jordan. He's a mature rookie, played in a lot of big-time games. I thought he's handled things really well this week, and we're hopeful and feeling good about the progress that Alaric has made, but I think Warren has also taken some really good steps in the right direction. We've been pleased with him.
What about Cooper? I mean, has it been everything you thought it would be this week with him, or better?
I think you got to ask him. You know, he's looked like Cooper, which is a good thing. And so he's put a lot of work in. You can't really ever simulate the game in these practice settings, especially once you get a quarter of the way into the season, Gary. But he's very comfortable. He's so conscientious. He looks like he's moving around really well. Seen good things between he and Matthew with a lot of their nonverbal communication, and just having his presence out there is definitely a boost. And so I'm really happy for him because of how important it is to be out there and with his teammates and to be able to feel physically like he's himself. And if that's the case, then usually the rest just takes care of itself. And, more importantly, it's good for our team, but it's also good for somebody that you care a whole lot about. And I'm happy to be able to have him back. And, we'll see if that continues to trend in that right direction unless something unforeseen happens over the next 48 hours.
Do you anticipate any significant changes to the type of workload you give him?
I don't think so. I think we'll see how it goes, but I think what you do know is once he gets going, you want to be smart about it, but I also know once a game gets going, you're kind of in that moment. And so we'll see how it goes. But I think Reggie and his group have done a really good job of kind of just building up his progression, if you will, Jordan. And there's nothing quite like replicating the competitiveness and the tempo that occurs on game day. But that'll be something that we want to be careful about. But I don't know. I think it'll be a lot of that communication in terms of how he's feeling as well, because he has such a good ability to do that with myself and the rest of our coaches. And then I think observations will help us. But we got some guys that the beauty of it is with him being out, there's been a lot of guys that have stepped up, and we've been able to develop some depth, and guys have earned the right to get out on the field and contribute. And I think, that's helpful for the Rams, and I think that's helpful for those guys if they don't feel like they have to play every snap.
When you want to be careful with someone who's so important to your team, but you also want to listen to him and his body, but also know that the adrenaline can kind of take over.
Well, yeah, it's a good question. I think you can do both. I think what you also know is that you're not going to put them out there if you feel like you're leaving them more susceptible. I mean, there's always a risk anytime you take the field of what could occur. Now, if there was something where he's not fully medically cleared and he's not feeling like himself, then this wouldn't be a conversation we're having with him even going out on the grass. And so I feel good about his ability to communicate, because it is a little bit different situation than coming off of a significant injury. Obviously, he had the ankle last year, but it's just a little bit different in terms of his ability to communicate. It's not quite like anything that I've ever been through, but I do have such trust with, the person and the player, and I think he understands how to be able to communicate where you're able to check both of those boxes, Adam.
Have you noticed a difference in how Cooper feels now than when he came back during camp?
I think he'd have to tell you that. I think there were some days where he looked like he felt like himself, and then there were some other days that he was probably pushing through or a little bit, less reluctant to open up and really go. But it was so spotty in terms of his availability, but it's been really good to just see him, even just the demeanor, you can see he's feeling good. And, when he loves competing, he loves being out there and playing football. And I think when you feel like yourself, man, that's a real cool thing. And without him even having to say that, that's what it looks like I've been seeing the last couple of days, and I've been really happy to see that.
What did you learn from the about his long-term health?
You know what? I really don't. I think he'd probably be better equipped to tell you guys whenever you talk to him on that. But he looks good this week.
Come aboard. Sort of follow up from me as well. There's a lot. It seemed to be a lot of gray in
Yeah.
the middle of this. What clarity did you guys receive? Was it
Time. I think just the time. Yeah, you know, I think it's all semantical. I think there's a lot of different things. I mean, the body is such a complex thing, but feeling good, and then I think time and having a consistent rhythm and routine, and not really necessarily feeling like you're having to rush back for that September 10th date. I know was kind of weighing on him a lot. I think that's what day our opener was. Was it September 10th? Whatever it was, whenever the Seattle game was, that was just kind of always in the back of his mind because he's such a conscientious guy and you feel obligated. And I think being able to say, okay, you've got a month or you got 4 weeks, and if you're not ready by Philly, then we're not going to rush that either. And so I think there was a benefit of just the overall time, the ability to have a good rehabilitation program that was structured towards just building the overall strength and trying to eliminate some of the, you know, whether it's the sensations or the things that were in alignment with a muscle strain or whatever it was. He's feeling good now, and I think the time was beneficial for that.
With Nopum out, you're anticipating that Jackson will be able to start left tackle, and then would Thomas back him up?
Warren would be a guy that we would look at. Warren McClendon. Yeah.
Just very quickly, what have you seen from him that gives you confidence? That
Well,
he
I
can
think,
step
you know, a guy that's played in a lot of big games. I think he has steadily gotten more and more comfortable with what we're doing. And I've been pleased with what he's done in some of the repetitions in practice or even throughout the course of training camp. Did some good stuff in the preseason. And so got a nice kind of just comfortable way about himself. He's a great listener. He's able to apply some of the corrections, and he's a big man that plays physical.
So you think Jackson, even though he's
I think he's going to play. Yeah. No, that's the expectation, and that's why he's questionable, not doubtful. All right. There you go. Thanks, guys.